So let me come to specifics. Oxygen supply. When the Chief Minister was asked whether there is any oxygen shortage, he said there is no oxygen shortage. Our reporters have reported from Meerut where there is widespread shortage. Doctors have come on camera. Patients, hospitals have come on camera. 8 people have died in one hospital allegedly because of oxygen shortage. And the Chief Minister says there is no oxygen shortage, and anyone who says so will be prosecuted. I mean, what is the message? Why not accept that there is a shortage of oxygen?
I do not know exactly what the Chief Minister said in that many words as what you are saying. But because the virus has mutated in so many forms, it is infecting the patient at least 1 week later after being tested negative. And because being tested negative and his lungs get infected after a week, he immediately requires oxygen. So the amount of patients who are going in for oxygen, not only in UP but all over India and all over the world, are using oxygen as a means to control themselves, to balance themselves out. And increase, and so there's a acute shortage of oxygen right over across the world. As you know, all over India, we only have about 8,000 metric tons which are normally produced. Sir, I'm not.
So why not accept it? No, Mr. Minister, I am saying why not just accept it that there is an oxygen shortage? Except there is a shortage of beds. You have such a. No, when you say there is no shortage, then people, feel look at the reality, which is very different, sir.
No, Rajdeep, again, I'll try and rephrase my words. What I said was that I do not know what the Chief Minister said and which way he said it and where it was quoted. But I also said there's an acute shortage in the entire country, in the entire world. We manufacture about 8,000 metric tons, out of which 1,700 tons goes into industrial use, and normally the balance is used in medical oxygen, which is all over, everywhere it is like that. When you have a virus which is mutated in so many forms and it is affecting your lungs immediately, you require oxygen. So as the percentage of patients have gone up by over 30%, similarly the use of oxygen, the requirement of oxygen has also gone up at the same rate. So when it's gone up at the same rate, you do not have that much oxygen available to you. So oxygen has been earmarked, or even we've been told by the central government that UP and other states have to get oxygen from this plant, from this plant, from this plant. So we are getting all our oxygen from those plants. And whatever is generated within UP and within small factories, we are taking that. So we fulfill all our oxygen requirements at the moment. And the number of beds which you said, we do have a shortage of beds because we never experienced that there will be such a shortage of beds for such a big virus. So we are adjusting to that also. Temporary sheds are being made, temporary hospitals are being made all over.
So how do you respond?
Even UP is making a temporary hospital. Yes.
Right. How do you respond? How do you respond, Mr. Minister, to those who say how do you respond to those who say did the government do enough over the last 8 months after the first wave? Did you get complacent? Chief Minister was campaigning all over Bengal. There was a general sense that life was back to normal. You all used to hold daily meetings. Those daily meetings stopped. Was there a sense that in February, March this year of ki corona ki jo jang thi hum jeet gaye hain, and that is where you lowered your guard? How many ventilators did you add? How many beds did you add? Could you have done more to add to the hospital infrastructure?
What we learned from 2020 कि जितना भी हमने बेड्स का तैयारी किया था 1,75,000 plus beds we arranged, and the number of patients, active patients, were much lower because the virus was not so infectious. Every district had ventilators. We provided ventilators, we provided BiPAP machines, we provided HNFC, and we provided cylinders according to the number of patients that were coming in 2020. So the basic infrastructure was still there. Now up to March 3rd, the lowest amount of cases came was 77. And before that it was already coming to a lower side. Now it is not complacency. I would say that everybody understood that maybe the virus is now coming to an end. So we started our regular medical activities for the rest of the public, for the other diseases, for other people who come with various sort of complaints for their health and all that. Everything started coming back to normal. Now, when everything came back to normal, and suddenly you have again a surge of this virus in a new form, so we had to get back everything again onto order. So again, we've got back everything. Every district has got its ventilators ready. Every district has got enough amount of beds which are available. All our staff is working round the clock. We've stopped OPD and all that. We are only doing basic emergencies, and we've kept everything on hold, and wherever the cases are coming up, we are looking after them to the best of our ability.
Right. Sir, are you are you all telling the country and the world the truth about the number of COVID deaths? Are you telling, is Uttar Pradesh is being accused of hiding figures when it comes to COVID deaths? You are being accused of not being honest about how many RT-PCR tests you are doing. You are doing too few RT-PCR tests, and the deaths being reported are much lower than actual. Is that true or not?
It's not true. We are doing about 1 lakh RT-PCR tests per day, and the rest is we doing antigen tests, which total up to about 2,26,000, 2,30,000. We've gone up to 39,000 also. This is our regular daily testing system which we do. Number two, the amount of deaths which happen in any medical facility. So that's a fraction
for a state with a population of over 20 crores.
No, but that is what we've developed over time. When we started in March 2020, we've had Then I think you should compare our records with other states all over India. If you are targeting UP especially, then you must compare our testing abilities along with the rest of the country. Because we started with 72 cases in 2020 when we had only one testing machine, and we've gone up to almost 200 plus, and every district is now having a RT-PCR machine. In another 10 days, you'll see doubling of this 2,30,000 to something like 4 lakhs we'll be getting it, because we've already placed orders for all our machines also. So every district hospital is going to have a RT-PCR machine. So you must compare our figures along with the rest of the country.
Sir, are you hiding the facts about deaths, sir? Are you hiding? Sure. Are you hiding the facts about deaths, sir? Are the number of people who have died in the last fortnight much more?
Not at all. I'd like to clarify on this issue. Whatever patients are admitted in medical colleges, in government institutions, or in private medical colleges or private hospitals, if a patient dies there, he or she must upload the data on the same day on a government portal. From the government portal, we do a death audit also through different systems. And after the death audit, we know exactly how many people died in our institutions or in private institutions, and that is how we calculate our deaths, and nothing is reported. I think today we reported something like 250 or 257. So nothing is being hidden over there. It is absolutely a transparent system in UP. I can assure you that.
Okay. Can I therefore ask you in conclusion, do you have any regrets? Could you have done something better than what you've done at the moment? As I said, the fact was that till March it appeared that life was returning to normal. The Chief Minister was aggressively campaigning in Bengal, addressing large rallies. In hindsight, do you think that maybe there should have been a greater sense of being on guard all the time?
As personally, if you ask me, I think basically a virus is most probably depends on how our scientists define it, and whether they had anticipated that in previous years, or rather 100 or 150 years ago, whenever you had a virus, when there were very few means of medication, and then the virus always came in couple of phases, and even in Africa we've seen different types of viruses or diseases which has come in different types of phases despite the vaccination being made. So I think our scientists should have thought of it earlier, that maybe we could have made more provision for our medical facilities. And in this, I'll tell you one thing, that in the March budget, the central budget, 137% more has been earmarked for medical infrastructure, where in every district we are supposed to make not only a BSL-2 lab to test various types of diseases, but also a 100-bed hospital along with it for infectious diseases. So this has already been earmarked in the March 2021-22 budget of the central government, and we'd already start sending a proposal for different sort of things so that we can get all our things on time. But in the meantime, this infection spread all over again, and so we were caught in the middle.
Let me ask you, sir, in conclusion, what will you tell all those people, whether they are in Meerut struggling for oxygen supplies or whether they are in Lucknow struggling for a bed, remdesivir? I know people ringing me up and saying we are told we will not get a bed unless we get a letter from the chief medical superintendent. What will you tell those who are saying that even in Varanasi, the Prime Minister's constituency, things are not as good as they should be? What will you tell all of them today, sir?
No, we will tell everybody that we are trying our best to adjust everybody into hospitals wherever possible. What we've done is that we've told all the private big corporate hospitals and the private nursing homes, private hospitals, that you can take in your patients directly instead of going through a system through the CMO. So that we've released, and we don't need to put any control over them. So people are going directly now over there. And the government institutions, the medical colleges, the district hospitals, or whatever little hospitals where we've got everything, all our facilities, that we are monitoring to ensure that proper treatment and proper beds are, when they are vacant, we allot people over there. And more or less we are getting everybody. It does take a time. When you have, say, in Lucknow, you're getting about 5,000 plus patients every day, out of which I think about maybe about 3,500 goes into home isolation. So for that 1,500, 2,000 people who are there, to get them into the institution does take a little bit of time, because we need to get the other people. There's a cycle of 14 days. You have a lot of patients who are already in medical colleges, in hospitals, who are basically not so critical, but they are not moving out of the place because they feel that, and in fact it's happened also, we've confirmed it also, that a chap, when a patient is totally okay, he's still sitting in that bed, and he gets another person to come and sit on his bed, so that when he moves out, another person comes in and very easily sort of gets in. So to check that, we've made a discharge policy, we've made a doctor's team to ensure that those people who are already 10 days over and who are negative and they don't have any other problem, they should be shifted back to home isolation for another week, and so that we can get all the critical care patients, the critically ill people, into these institutions to give them the best of whatever is possible.
Hello everyone, this is Rahul Kamal here. Hope you enjoyed this video. For the latest news and analysis, like and subscribe the India Today YouTube channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated.